Hey everyone, Kale with the Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with reseller rule number 9, and that one is don't diversify. Pause for effect. Too much. So diversification is a obvious good thing in business, depending on your business. Of course, there are some things where you probably should not diversify, especially if you've hit like your one-hit wonder. You really shouldn't go too much more because sometimes adding more to your lineup will be you chasing after the wind, and you are not going to achieve anything. That's sort of what the chasing after the wind saying sort of talks about, is you're not really going to achieve diddly squat by doing so. So let's just say that you run a porta potty business in some big downtown area. Just because you run a porta potty business does not mean that you're going to be able to expand into toilets and make a whole lot of money, even though they are related. There might be a lot of competition for one. You might not have a name for yourself in one, that sort of thing. But with that said, I'm not talking about toilets and poop in this story, even though I do like to make poop jokes. I'm talking about books and eBay stores and eBay reselling. The reason why I am saying don't diversify too much is because diversification, a lot of people, you hear all these business gurus who usually are not actually successful business people, and they are saying diversification, diversify. Your banker's telling you, you gotta diversify, and it feels like they're like singing some chanting song, and it's getting a little bit annoying because everyone's telling you diversify, and it's the best thing ever, but you've tried it, or maybe you haven't tried it, but you're thinking about trying it. But the problem is diversification is not a business strategy that actually makes you rich. Whoa, what am I talking about? Caleb, you're crazy. Problem is, when you talk to actual business people, and I'm not talking about the people that are like Jeff Bezos, and they sell everything on Amazon. Cough, cough, he actually started Amazon selling just books, and then he expanded from there. He didn't start with everything. But when you guys talk to actual business people, and I highly recommend you do this, find some successful business people in your area if you don't believe me, but these people make their money in one thing. That's why the Valuetainment founder and creator, Patrick Bet-David, great guy by the way, you guys should check out his channel. Again, that is Valuetainment. Highly recommended. I actually linked to it on my channel for you guys to check out. But the reason why he talks about this and why I'm talking about it as well is because when you diversify, you're spreading your risk wide, yes, but you're also spreading your efforts wide. That is why he and I both agree of you do not diversify if you want to get rich. You don't diversify if you want to make a good living either. You can diversify all you want if you want to have a hobby that eats up every single second of your time. But that's not what we want. That's not why we're starting reselling businesses. In fact, you guys can check out, there's tons of resellers online, but there are resellers who buy storage units. You can see them going through all these storage units, and most of the people that I've seen stuff from, they go through the storage unit, they pick out the things that they know, and then let's say all the clothing, they donate all the clothing. Meanwhile, the clothing resellers, they see that and they're like, no, you just threw away that coat. That coat's worth $50. What are you doing? You're a moron. Or you can be like me, you see them going through these things, they buy all these things, sell all these things, but they threw away all the books, and I'm like, no, you just threw away $200 worth of books in that one box. You could have made $200, my dude. Oh, and it's not that much effort if you know what you're doing, but fact is, you can't know everything. I've done other videos on this where I talk about how you can't know everything. You can't do everything. The issue with being a human is you aren't God. You don't know everything. You can't do everything. And because of that, diversification in your business, especially if you do it too much, can actually hurt you. The Valuetainment guy, again, Patrick Bet-David, he has mentioned several times in his videos, and a lot of other people that I've heard from, especially on the Rich Dad, Poor Dad channel, they mention also about how there are all these different business people who go out, they sell their business, they make their millions selling their business, or even they make $500,000 selling their local business. And they sell it and they're like, wow, I did a good thing. My family legacy is set. And they sit at home, they feel successful. And normally people that start businesses, we're not people that sit around. So after about 1 week of sitting around, they're like, well, this stinks. Why'd you guys all tell me to retire? This is the worst thing ever. Retirement's torture. I'm going back to work. And the problem with these people is, let's just say, back to the poop thing, they were a porta potty salesman, let's say. They did that their whole lives, and they think, well, I made one successful business, I might as well make another. And then they start a business in, let's just say, quarry stuff, and they're selling gravel now. Just because they had success in porta potties does not mean they're going to have success in gravel. And the issue that a lot of people have is they go and they make their money, they start a good business, let's say, and then they go and start something that's not even faintly related to what they've done before. They have no idea about it, but they just want a new adventure. And the problem is they treat that adventure like it was their successful business, and they give everything they've got to get that going, and they lose it all. That happens time and time and time again. The issue is they sort of push themselves past what they could actually handle. They could not diversify outside of that. And of course, they were putting all their efforts into that new business, so it wasn't really diversifying. But the problem is that's not necessarily how human brains work. You find what you're good at, and you really shouldn't stray from that all the time. Of course, I am sure you guys are going to point out, but Caleb, there are lots of eBay stores that sell everything, and there's lots of eBay sellers that sell everything. And yeah, there are. Those people do have success. However, a lot of those people do have multiple people working for them. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys that are starting out are willing to do that. And I'm sure you guys are also going to comment, okay, well, diversification is like selling mass market paperbacks and hardcover books. Is that too much? Am I overthinking this? Are you dumb, Caleb? Well, I might be dumb. I don't know. You guys can say that if you want. But if you guys are just doing books, that you're probably fine. Of course, personally, I don't expand into too many books. I like to do mostly nonfiction antique books. That is more where I make my money. It's more the books that I can look at and be like, oh, I know for a fact I can make money on that, that, and that. I don't know about these 5, but probably can. And if not, well, I'm losing $1 each, something like that. And I make most of my money selling the nonfiction books that are antique, particularly the Christian nonfiction books from the 1880s to 1890s. Those are my real breadwinners. However, the 1860s and 50s also do pretty well for me, and even into the 1840s. Of course, I sell other books beyond those. I'm not just pigeonholed into those things, but I can definitely pigeonhole myself and do very well in that niche. But of course, that is because I have done my research. I have really chosen that niche and found that that's really what works best for me. I do diversify into other books. In fact, you guys can see lots of books that don't fit that qualification, but a lot of the ones that I have do, and the ones that I have the most luck selling normally do fit in that sort of group as well. I also end up finding those books a whole lot easier because I know what to look for. I look at a house even for an estate sale, and I can look from the outside and be like, yeah, that person doesn't have a library. And I can literally do that looking at the exterior photo of a house. I can even see some people's collections when I'm going through estate sales when they post the photos, and I can look at some of their collections and I'm like, oh, nope, that's not a book collection person. And I've talked about that in other videos. You guys can check the other videos on my channel where I talk about all that jazz, where I actually look through estate sales and tell you guys, oh, if I was going to that one, I would hit this, this, and this one. I would go buy this and this and this. You can make this much and this much and this much at these estate sales. I haven't done those videos for a while, but I might start doing those again. I don't know. It's sort of, we'll see. With that said, though, diversification, it's not the most useless thing out there, though. There is a reason why people say you gotta diversify. And I know I'm getting to this late. I know I'm going to already have 25 comments that are complaining, and I don't get a whole lot of comments on this channel, so that shows how many complaints I'm sure I'm gonna get. But there are going to be people that say, I know for a fact I need to diversify, Caleb. You're wrong. You're a moron. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't really care. But there is a place and a purpose for diversification. That is where the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, sort of comes from, is there is a need for diversification. There is an innate responsibility that we feel to diversify because, let's face it, you put all your eggs in one basket, you drop the basket, all your eggs are broken. You spread them out, you drop a basket, one egg is broken, but you still have all your other ones. We all understand that. It makes sense. So that, let's just think about it. Is that a recipe that's going to get you rich, or is that a recipe to keep yourself safe? If you want to make the most money for your efforts, you're going to put all your eggs in that one basket because it only takes one trip to go from your chicken coop to your sale barn. If you want to be safe, you're going to do one egg per trip and do 25 trips or however many eggs you've got. And it's going to be a lot more work. It's going to be a lot more labor, but your risk of loss is a whole lot less. That is where diversification is key. It's if you are afraid of loss, if you are trying to play the safe game. And the problem is you don't get rich playing the safe game. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but it's more of a rule that you're not going to get rich playing it safe. People diversify and do diversification when they have already sold their business, and then they put it all into stocks, bonds, gold, real estate, farms, timber, all that sort of stuff. That is when you start diversifying, and that's where you start making your money. Of course, there are going to be stock people who are like, oh, I'm diversified. I own bank stocks, tech stocks, mining stocks, all that. And the problem is, you think you're diversified, but everything that you own right there, what did I say? Bank stocks, mining stocks, tech stocks. When there's a stock market crash, all those get hit. I know people are like, oh, it's a different industry though, I'm safe. You're not. Everything gets drawn down in a stock market crash. That's why people like to diversify outside of that, and they get real assets. Of course, oftentimes a lot of those other assets will take a hit as well in really bad recessions and such, but you do need to diversify outside of just the stock market. Problem is, you're not going to hear that from a lot of experts, and I'm not a financial expert. Don't do stuff based on what I say, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a rip. Get your own financial advisor. I'm just saying this based on my own research, all the experts that I've talked to, all the consultants that I've talked to, all that sort of stuff. I'm not just someone spouting stuff off. I've actually done research, believe it or not, and you guys should do your own research as well. But these people that try to sell you stocks are stockbrokers. They make money selling you stocks. Caleb, but they're the expert. Yeah, but they make money for giving you info. And if you don't go with their info, they don't make money. So they want to make sure that you buy their product. If you don't buy their product, they don't make their money. Huh, imagine that. They might have an ulterior motive other than helping you. And they're like, oh, but I'm this and this and this. I get paid only if you get paid. That's sort of how all business goes, guys. If you're not making your clients money, and if you're not making money, you're not in business. Duh. So there is a lot to keep in mind with all that. Personally, for me, I am diversified outside of the stock market, and I am actually working on some other diversification portfolios stuff, doing a lot of fun stuff on that side of things. I've talked about this in other videos, so you guys can check those out if you want me to dig in. If you want to hear me dig into that, not doing that in this video because this one's all about why you shouldn't diversify too much, cough cough. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it got you guys thinking a little bit, especially if you're brand new to this entire field of eBay reselling and you're like, oh, this guy's selling shoes, this guy's selling just jeans, this guy's selling Levi jackets, this guy's selling books. The book guy definitely looks the most handsome though. I mean, look at this guy, he's pretty cool. But there's all this sort of stuff that you guys are going to get sort of flooded with the information. You're going to get a little bit nervous and you're going to be like, I can't do this all. And the thing is, don't do it all if you can't handle it all. And don't feel obliged to do everything. For me, I go to different book sales and Friends of the Library book sales, and I am buying all these books, especially the antique books, and I look longingly at the DVDs, CDs, video games, records, all that sort of stuff. I'm like, I know there's money in that. I know if I scan it, I can make a couple bucks. But I've gotten to the point where I sort of trained myself to just not do it, especially if I'm not certain on it. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be a time that I break that rule. I have broken a lot of rules. Rules are like bones. They're made to be broken. Wait a second, that sounds painful. But there is a lot of stuff that you guys can try out. However, I recommend you do that trying out of different things once you've got your business established, once you can afford to take the risk and try something new. Odds are it'll fail, or maybe odds are it'll succeed. I don't know. But it's something that you should not put everything that you've got behind it, especially when you're first starting out. You need to get a few successes early on so you feel confident enough to take further risks in your business. Jumping into business is a scary thing for a lot of people. I understand that, so that's why I don't recommend trying it all in the very beginning. If you try everything in the very beginning, you are going to get nervous, you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get a death pile. That's what you call all your inventory that you haven't listed yet. You get your death pile and it's 100,000 different things. You look at it every single morning, you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what this stuff is. However, if you start with just books, you just look at it and you're like, well, I guess I'll list books then. I don't have any options. So that can definitely help people, especially if you're starting out. So with that said and done, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please be sure to drop it a like. See that right there? Give me a thumbs up. And if you guys would like to share some stories in the comments, feel free to drop the comments down below with what you guys think, all your experiences. I know I insulted people in this video as well, so please be sure to defend me in the comments, because obviously I normally ignore angry comments from angry people because, well, I'm not casting pearls before the swine, and they're also just poop turds more often than not. With that said, though, please be sure to subscribe if you guys want to see more stuff like this, and be sure to check out one of my other videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.